Free men need to be able to protect their families. It's really sad to see people hurt, livelihoods destroyed, even homes destroyed, just to make a political point. Free men take action when churches face heartbreaking attacks. And while cowards stand idle, free men run towards the sound of gunshots when children are in danger. I'm so thankful for free men who stand ready with the tools of liberty.
While God created the world, the morning stars sang together. After God delivered Israel through the Red Sea, Moses and Miriam led the people in singing. God destroyed Israel's enemies under King Jehoshaphat, while the choir sang. When Jesus was born, the angels sang, and before going to the cross, he sang. God rejoices over us with singing, and one of the only things we know for certain that everyone will be doing in heaven is singing. At New St. Andrews College, we understand that music is not an elective. It is central to our being and identity. We endeavor to train all our students in a joyful and robust musical literacy that will help them shape culture in a Christ-like direction wherever they go. Additionally, we offer the Certificate of Music in conjunction with our bachelor's degree in liberal arts and culture for students who desire extra music training beyond the regular music courses they will take as a part of the core curriculum. In the certificate program, you won't simply appreciate music or listen to it or talk about it. You will do music. You will study it, analyze it, read it, write it, sing it, and play it. You will receive private instruction in your primary instrument, as well as secondary lessons in voice, piano, conducting, and other instruments. You will receive a solid foundation in music theory and analysis. You will study music history, church music, and music pedagogy. And when you graduate, you will leave with the ability to sing, play, understand, and steward music in whatever church or community you plant yourself. I'm Dr. David Erb, and this is the Certificate of Music at New St. Andrews College.
Move your phone, Keith. You're not Gabe. You're doing it wrong.
Put the
headphones in. Nobody. You kind of need the microphone.
Show prep, perfect.
Welcome to a show that's like cross politic. Chocolate Knox, Pastor Toby, Keith Darrow, who doesn't know what he's doing, singing for Gabe. Come back to us, Gabe.
I'm so disappointed that we didn't do Dire Straits for the opening music.
Dire Straits, what is that?
Dire Straits is trending right now, man. Martin Knopfler.
Why is it trending?
I don't know Martin Knopfler. I don't know him.
I want you to.
I'm getting there. Keep talking.
All right. Yeah,
right interference.
What is Dire Straits? Is it a
Neil
song?
was playing Dire Straits. Is it a song?
I don't. People,
one of the greatest bands of the 80s.
They black?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have
in their hearts.
Oh. Okay. Well then, cool. All right, brothers. All right.
I just remember the guy playing guitar barefoot, and he'd.
That's nasty.
Jump around playing guitar barefoot.
That's nasty.
Not like Flea or anything like that. From Red.
Yeah. Mark Knopfler's the.
Is that who that is?
I'll look up Dire Straits while you're reading the
lead
ad.
Singer, guitarist. He went off and did a number of albums on his own too, and it's trending on Twitter.
What
right
song?
now.
What song would
Any
I know from
reason
them?
he's trending?
What?
What's the reason he's trending?
I don't know. I was just clicking on it. I was like, oh, it's trending, and everybody's just like sharing their favorite Dire Straits songs.
Like what? What would it be a Dire Straits song?
What would be the
Money for nothing. Money ain't for nothing.
Money for Nothing?
Give me another one. Sing it.
Money ain't for nothing, and your chicks. That ain't working. That's
Yeah,
the way you do it. I may not be hitting it right. I may not be getting it right.
Yeah, no, you ain't.
It's not too late to make a New Year's resolution for 2023.
Like find out who Dire Straits is.
Yeah. It's also not too late to order a Valentine's gift for that special someone in your life.
Oh.
You can play some music behind me, Neil, right there.
Some special someone, like some love music.
Sappy love music.
Some
right
very
there.
Dire Straits, maybe?
Sure.
Okay.
This year, resolve to support hard-hitting, truth-telling, culture-shaping publications and subscribe to the Fight, Laugh, Feast magazine. You know, we have a Fight, Laugh, Feast magazine. I mean, if you don't know.
Come out quarterly?
Yeah, it does. It does. Fight against evil culture through print media by getting a subscription for you or your loved one to the Fight, Laugh, Feast magazine. Nothing says, I love you, like a subscription to the Fight, Laugh, Feast magazine. Nothing says, want to go out on a date with me?
Yeah.
Like a subscription
Well,
to the Fight, Laugh, Feast magazine.
You know,
I'll add that to the repertoire.
These days, how hard is it to find a reform person? The Fight, Laugh, Feast magazine is like, hey.
Yeah.
She's like,
She's like, you too?
There you go. That's how you get them.
Yeah,
That's
like
how you get them.
That's
why you need a subscription.
Yeah,
That's how you test the waters.
This is our rowdy Christian mojo incarnated into print media. While tech giants try to shut down our avenues to deliver the truth to you, we are the underground resistance, delivering theologically driven cultural commentary from faithful and heavy-hitting authors right to your door. Psalms to sing, recipes for feasting, humor to encourage, belly laughs, serrated theological essays, all to the glory of God. So sign up yourself, your church, your grumpy uncle, the Pope, Elon Musk, that cute girl you've been thinking about asking out.
Hey.
All your kids and grandkids, even if they're not baptized. And Platinum Club members, you get a free subscription just included in your membership. And if you're not a club member yet, why not become a club member today? But get 4 issues, just $60 per year. Go to fightlaughfeast.com right now and subscribe today.
You know who else needs a subscription? Ron DeSantis.
Does he?
You should send Ron DeSantis a subscription to the Fight Laugh Feast magazine.
Yeah.
He is actually...
Happy Valentine's Day, Ron.
I mean, it's one way to say thank you. He's been standing up pretty strong in a lot of ways. A lot of I wish our governor would follow the footsteps that he's going in one sense.
Right.
But he's been under a lot of stress lately, particularly, or should I say a lot of hits he's been taking lately.
Yeah.
And this show's probably not going to be any different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a few his way, but I'm going to defend him first. I'm going to defend a little bit of what he's doing, and then I'm going to throw some his way. But so this is an interesting show. CNN, there's been kind of a couple things that he's been hitting at with education. People are hitting him with. One of them is he's banning books. He's not allowing certain educational ideas to get through. And the other one is he's being racist by not allowing black education to get through.
Yeah.
So CNN is kind of hitting him on the book side while everybody else is hitting him on the black education theory coming through.
Okay.
So CNN recently just said, do you know Ron DeSantis is banning books?
Oh.
Teacher Don Falls told us he covered the bookshelves out of concern for a new state law that requires all books in classroom libraries to be approved or vetted by a media specialist or librarian that is trained by the state.
Okay, hold on.
We were instructed
Hold on. So there's a reason for this. Remember, during COVID, parents finally started waking up to the reason why that their kids are getting some education that they didn't like.
Yeah, because it's getting beaten right into their living rooms.
Right, and the stuff that they didn't like was sexual acts happening with same sex that were books their kids were being taught and said to go read, and that was in their libraries. So there's a reason. So now everybody's investigating what is in our library. Right. And so no different. The same thing is happening out in Florida.
Week that we were essentially had 3 choices as far as our personal libraries that are in our classrooms. We could remove them completely, box up. We could cover them up with paper or some sort of something, or they could be entered into a database where the school district has all of the library books and all the other kinds of books. And if the book was in the system, then it could remain on the shelf open.
Falls, who is part of a lawsuit against Governor Ron DeSantis regarding his Stop Woke Act, says it has all caused him and other teachers much fear and angst. But the district says it never instructed teachers to shut down classroom libraries. According to the school district, volunteers will be helping to catalog books in classroom libraries. If a book already has the green light, it can go right back on the shelf for students. But if it is not pre-approved, it must be vetted before a student can have access to it.
Okay, so wait. So this does bother me because I want to know who these volunteers are vetting books.
Who's vetting books?
Right. So I'm not jumping all over like, wait a second. What books are they going to say going to be in there and what's not going to be in there? Who these volunteers? What is the standard by which they're going to say this is a good book and this isn't a good book? Because I've been watching this. There are some books that people have been banning just because they're Black history. Right. It's like, wait a second, that's And now, granted, the other side is using this book to try and get a foothold in, but the book itself isn't a problem.
Right.
So nobody's able to make distinctions. So,
well, and like, I mean, aren't they like banning books too, like Huckleberry Finn and Adventures of Tom Sawyer? Because of,
and they've been editing that for years.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the N word in it, so therefore we got to get rid of it.
It was like Slave Jim, then it was like Jim. You know what I mean? They just kind of keep editing
Friend
it out.
Jim,
unlike
brother Jim.
The hip hop that they listen to on the way home with their kids.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's completely different.
Yeah, we haven't banned Dr. Dre. We haven't banned Snoop. Snoop is sitting up there with Martha Stewart, and you watching like a family show. So, come on now, so don't get me started.
Right.
We are going to make sure that parents have a seat at the table and that we protect their rights, because nobody is more invested in the proper well-being of kids than the parents themselves.
According to Florida's Department of Education, selection of library materials, which includes classroom libraries, must be free of pornography and material prohibited under state statute, suited to student needs and their ability to comprehend the material presented.
Okay, so I just want you to see
Free
this.
of pornography. That's radical.
I know.
Radical.
Banning books, banning Playboy.
No Playboy, no Hustler, no Triple
Stay
X.
sod in the children's book room.
Right.
It's suited to the students' needs and their ability to comprehend the materials presented.
Right.
If you got some of those LGBT people determining that, their ability, they think
But what
their
they're
5-year-old's ability to comprehend.
That's what they're trying to target, though,
Yeah.
in this. But you're right, depending on who the filter is, who the standard is. I mean, because if you are an LGBT advocate,
Right.
then you think that little children should be brought up thinking in these categories.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, discipleship is absolutely inescapable.
That's right.
And this is where the gay Reuben conservatism isn't. This is not going to fly.
with his 5 gallons of milk in the refrigerator.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, breast milk in the freezer.
Yeah, I mean, it is either that's a legitimate life choice or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, then there's no problem telling little preschoolers that maybe a little preschool boy that he might want to marry another boy when he grows up, and he might want to have freezers full of breast milk too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not? Is he a hero or not?
Yeah.
Is he a role model or not? Maybe you can buy eggs from some lady and you can rent a uterus. I mean, that's either legit or not, and you can't be neutral
about that thing at all.
No.
You know, I just got to remind you where we started in this story. You remember we started with people covering up books because they're afraid of federal charges being placed on them. I want to know what was on the books. That you gotta, if this is the standard by which they're judging everything, what is it that you all of a sudden in your personal library in the classroom you got to be like, "Ooh, I might be in trouble."
Yeah,
right, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Wait a second, y'all just had this in the classroom, just laying around,
cover it up.
cover all the porn up. The kids are now we might be getting federal charges because of what we're showing the kids. This is the thing.
But that's a stunt.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course it is, but that's kicking it up all over the.
I know.
But it's it.
But let's treat it seriously and be like, send the cops in. You know, let's do a SWAT team like they did with that pro-life dude that was picketing on
right.
Like, let's send the FBI in.
That's right.
Right, because there might be porn in a children's classroom.
Keep going, Haley.
Appropriate for the grade level and age group for which the materials are used and made available. Violations can result in a third-degree felony. During a school board meeting this week, Manatee County school officials acknowledged they don't know how long it'll take to verify all the books. In the meantime, the district said students have access to books in their school's main library, but the process has sparked confusion and high emotion.
I would not suggest banning books. It's a slippery slope. This is good literature with value. Please do not ban books.
During a school board meeting in Pinellas County, school officials confirmed they too are working to align policies with state requirements. School officials say a group of library media specialists reviewed 94 book titles over the summer.
Library media specialists.
Yeah, media specialists.
Well, what? If they didn't even say parents are being sent a list and they're voting
experts.
They're just
experts.
Yeah.
Knox. These are experts.
On the bright side, I don't think I ever checked out a book in high school. So on the bright side,
and that was back then, So there's a Democratic official state rep. I think it's Fentrice. I'm saying that right, Fentrice Driscoll, who
Mark's sister.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
I mean, she could be baptized. She might be baptized. It could be a sister in the Lord. We don't know. Okay. But she had a press conference. You'll see Crump in this one. And she's just like going after Ron DeSantis here.
By rejecting the African American History Pilot Program, Ron DeSantis has clearly demonstrated that he wants to dictate whose story does and doesn't belong. Mm-hmm. He wants to control what our kids can learn based on politics and not sound policy.
Okay, so just so you
he
know,
repeatedly attacks the first.
This is the second side that DeSantis is getting hit with. So you see okay.
First one is the censorship.
Right. On
porn. We want kids accessing porn.
This is like
slippery slope.
Yeah. Now notice this is porn and then sexuality. That's sexuality. Yeah. This one is race. All right.
Yeah. Kind of race.
Yeah. Okay, maybe. Yeah. So, but this is again, this is a double-edged sword that they're going after Ron DeSantis on.
Amendment rights of Floridians, with books being banned from libraries and classrooms, and now throwing his weight against this AP African American history course. He is undermining the rights of parents and students to make the best decisions for themselves. He wants to say that I don't belong. He wants to say that you don't belong, whose story does and doesn't get to count. But we are here to tell him, we are America. Yes. Governor, Black history is American history, and you are on the wrong side of history. Yes. And now we've been told that this AP African American history course will be altered and resubmitted, and most likely they'll make enough changes for the governor to approve it. But at what cost? And are we really okay with Ron DeSantis deciding what's acceptable for America's students across the country about Black history?
So notice she's talking about one class. Mm-hmm. One class.
Yeah.
I took one AP class in high school, AP Modern European History, but it's one class, and not everybody takes AP classes anyways.
No,
and she's. I mean,
some people don't even take books out of the library.
For real. Did you take any AP courses?
I took an AP history course.
Did?
I did take an AP
was
history
it African American history?
It was not African American
What
history.
are you, a racist?
Yeah.
You racist?
Well, back then, we barely had African American history back then. I was like, in the same way it is now. In the same way it is now. It was all American. Her
Go ahead.
Maybe, you know what?
No, wait. To her point, it's all American history.
Keep digging.
Right?
Keep
all
digging.
American
Oh, so
history.
you couldn't tell the difference.
He was colorblind.
Yeah, we're colorblind. It was a different era. It was the MLK era.
That's why we have to do this.
See, I was
That's
raised
why
up
we
under
have to do
MLK.
this.
I didn't know there were black people until I was about 26 years old.
Okay.
Because I was
Oh, wow.
colorblind.
Okay.
I was colorblind for
Come
26
back.
years.
Gabe, come back. He's digging. Colorblind for 6 years. Here we go. You know what, Keith? I was on her side, and now I'm on her side even more. So this is African American Studies. This is a 4-part series that they have. They wanted to put with the education. Now, I'm going to get to this in a second, but this starts here and it ends up going somewhere else. I want you to follow the logic that happens here. She starts talking about leadership all of a sudden.
But friends, in order to build that America, we need leaders who care not about some of us, but about all of us. Because united, we stand. We need leaders who will bring the temperature down, not ratchet up the madness and create division. Because united, we stand. We need leaders who create good jobs, not anti-woke mobs. Because united, we stand. We need lower property insurance and safe neighborhoods, not more limitations on how we raise and educate our children. Because united, we stand. What we don't need is a governor who is so obsessed with woke that he is asleep at the wheel. Because divided, we fall.
What are we talking about again? Do y'all remember?
It doesn't matter. You're getting emotional. When you start bringing everybody into the chant, you got them.
But you know, she said we want to lower home insurance rates. I was like, oh, you were so close. Why don't we just get rid of property taxes?
Well, hold on.
Get out of the game.
Well,
she's talking about parents and their authority.
I don't know what we talk about anymore. I just know that we're united, we stand.
And next thing you know, if you oppose lowering interest rates arbitrarily, you're actually against African American history at that point.
Well,
you know what I mean? So that's the impressive
so
thing that the
obsessed with woke stuff.
Yeah,
you are getting African American history. You think it's
well, then their ability. I'll give them this: their ability to stuff in every project into whatever their pet. So like the African American and the LGBT stuff, all that has that minority appeal thing, and so suddenly it's like, oh, we'll stuff in our economic policies as well.
This is actually a brilliant press conference.
That's my point.
Brilliant press conference.
See,
and conservatives need to do way better. This is one class, one AP class.
Come on,
and
now.
she's preaching, and she's got her choir, and she's on the news because she saw the moment, this tiny little crack, AP. And they're going to just revise it and put it back in. And she's got her big, stand, and she got out and she started preaching on them.
Pastor, you ain't even seen nothing yet.
Uh-oh.
His singular goal is to become the GOP nominee for president.
Oh,
We must all remember this moment.
what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about African American studies.
No.
I thought we were talking about United We Stand.
No.
I thought we were talking about education. Notice another thing that you talked about. Notice how she was first just talking about one group of people, and then she switches it from one group of people to United
Everyone.
We Stand.
Yeah.
The rhetoric on here. Listen,
Yeah.
you said it, and I'm just going to say it again. I just want to back that up. We don't have any Republican that I know about or conservative I know about that talks like this, that uses rhetoric like this. I know Neil's going to say, old girl who was running for, what's her name? Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake.
I don't know.
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona. That was the only person who was
Okay,
able
she's
to
like
flip
that?
it. She was,
She
could, and you'd be like, oh, okay, all
No.
right. But we don't talk like that. We don't think like this. We don't find the opportunities like this.
And you know, she's been trained.
Oh yeah.
She's been discipled. The whole democratic
educated.
movement, they believe in discipleship, and they've been discipled to take every opportunity, every little if there's a shooting,
Yep.
what are we going to hear?
They gonna preach on it.
There's going to be mics and there's going to be press conferences.
It's happening right now.
But
That's right.
conservatives need to take a page out of the playbook and basically say, like, we should have our own list of 15, 20 topics, and every time it comes up, tiny little thing, get out your podium, and we need to be telling the truth.
They've stopped us from preaching on stuff.
Yeah, and I think my difficulty, like if I'm conservative in the media, listening to her, I just feel like it's all so manipulative and it's a lie. You know what I mean? Even like, who is Ron DeSantis? Tell her what the narrative is going to be, and then like, well, you want to push out Ron DeSantis' narrative. Like someone's narrative is going to stand, someone's going to get pushed out, and they kind of own. And I bump into it all the time on campus. They own that platitude of like, we're all united, we're all one. That kind of democratic, egalitarian spirit.
Because united, we stand.
Yeah, and they kind of own it. And and the hard part for us is we want to push back on it, and we look like we're the divisive ones.
They've already set the stage. But
that's because they're assuming the center. They're assuming the center. They're saying, okay, there's the point, there's the crack. Let me tell you the way the world ought to be.
Yep.
But who does this
Painting
world?
the cosmos,
Who does this world belong to? This world belongs to Jesus. It's his. He purchased the nations with his blood. We should be the ones assuming the center. We should be the ones taking every opportunity to take every thought captive to be saying, this is the only point of union. This is the only way we're united and we stand. It's in Jesus Christ. It's in his word.
So she uses education, United We Stand, to take a swing at DeSantis.
Yeah.
And channel our anger at being rejected into action. Because he will try to draw attention in a dozen directions, and today it's Black History, and tomorrow it's Mickey Mouse, and the next day it's gas stoves.
Woo!
But we must stay focused.
Stay
We have 650 days to Election Day 2024, when he hopes to be on the ballot for President of the United States. That is 22 months, 162 and a half weeks, 15,600 hours, 936 minutes, and we must use every second of that time, that precious time, to do the work and make sure that a man who says that an AP African American history course has no educational value never sets foot in the Oval Office.
Oh,
that's what this is about.
Yeah.
It ain't even about Florida no more.
No.
Now this she went right for the presidency. At least you think that this ain't have nothing to do with God. Let me just drop a little Jesus on it.
But in the words of the prophet Amos, in the book of Amos 5:24, but let justice roll down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. Do not give up. You keep the faith, because I know that together, we will overcome.
Yeah. All right, you lost me there. You lost me there.
You didn't like the Amos ending?
That was too obvious.
That was too obvious. Oh,
it was too obvious. I mean, it was like, that's MLK's.
Yeah, well, of course. But that's what she's dog was.
I know.
It was so good. You didn't. The whole thing is.
No, I was like, this is like I felt like it had her own energy. Until that point, and it was like.
Well, I think it might be clever.
It's like
it's
showed her
tying her
notes.
in, but it showed her notes, but it kind of ties her in. Like I'm part of something bigger. I go back. This is a 60-year struggle. This is. I think she's tying.
You thought it was strong?
I don't know. I wasn't strong. I'm just sitting there going, "You're idolatrous in your use of Amos," because all I can hear is her democratic spirit being pushed into Amos. It's not about Yahweh. It's not about His justice. It's about our egalitarian vision of this sort of thing. So I'm just sitting there going, you're a liar. But I think from the broader culture to roll out an Amos verse and throw out some justice.
Fair enough. It probably works. It probably works.
It was so annoying. In here it may not. I'm just saying it sells. It sells broadly.
Well, part of it, so there's a couple of things here for me, and I want to play, so, the Bible says, hey, when one comes and presents his case with Proverbs 18, he seems right until another comes and then confronts him.
Yeah. That's why you always need to have two or three witnesses.
That's exactly right. And we're going to let Ron speak for himself in just a second here. But one of the things that I see in her, if it's true, if anybody knows Black history, she should know. She's an educated woman. She knows Black history. Yeah. She has slave syndrome, where how you have when you get kidnapped, you have Stockholm.
And you start loving your abuser.
She has the same sort of thing. One thing, if you know anything about Black history, Black people have had the worst shake from the government. It hasn't been the best with us in the government. It's been really bad. The civil rights, all of it. Well, that's the whole point with civil rights. And it's like, why are you contending for there? They're the ones who have been enslaving you. You don't need their approval. But she's doing the same thing. Unless daddy government hears us, we don't have any options, right? Instead of saying, don't you know what kind of government we're dealing with? Yeah. And if I was her, I would say Ron DeSantis is a perfect example of what's been going on with the kind of government that we've had in America. This is horrible. You know what we need to do? We need to pull ourselves away from the yoke of white supremacy in government education, start educating our own Black people, putting our money in our communities, have them stop taxing us to take our money to go fund public white schools in other communities and fund our private-owned Black schools. Why aren't they saying that message?
Right.
Why? That's the strongest Black position if you're going to make one.
Yeah. Independence.
We don't need
freedom.
No new slave masters like Ron DeSantis. They're not making that argument.
No.
What they're arguing for is for the levers of power to enslave other people too. Yeah, which is a shame position to have as a Black person.
I think I think much better than people on the right. They grasp the nature of power, government force, and all that sort of stuff, and so they know how to get to where they want to go. We just need those powers of lever. That's why they're constantly critiquing it so they can get it. It's not just a critique of power so somehow it just gets dissipated.
Right.
They're critiquing it so they can usurp it and take it over.
Right. Yeah. So let's let Ron DeSantis speak his side of why this particular AP Black Studies is not in the curriculum.
In the state of Florida, our education standards not only don't prevent, but they require teaching Black history, all the important things. That's part of our core curriculum. This was a separate course on top of that for advanced placement credit. And the issue is we have guidelines and standards in Florida. We want education, not indoctrination. If you fall on the side of indoctrination, we're going to decline. If it's education, then we will do this course. So when I heard it didn't meet the standards, I figured, they may be doing serious. It's way more than that. This course on Black history, what's one of the lessons about? Queer theory. Now, who would say that an important part of Black history is queer theory? That is somebody pushing an agenda on our kids. And so when you look to see they have stuff about intersectionality, abolishing prisons, that's a political agenda. And so that's the wrong side of the line for Florida standards. We believe in teaching kids facts and how to think, but we don't believe they should have an agenda imposed on them. When you try to use Black history to shoehorn in queer theory, you are clearly trying to use that for political purposes.
Oh, yes. Pastor Toby.
So I want to abolish the prisons too.
I was like, am
I in trouble? Mr. DeSantis.
This is why we have to free education from the government, because there are things in there that are right and just. But
it would be great if part of the curriculum was abolishing government schools. When you are pushing the abolition of government schools,
well, this is one thing. He's right. When you look inside of this, we looked through it. This is like 80 pages. Yeah, we had our producers go through it. There's only confined there's 4 units, but the 4 units in the 4th unit of this education system, they have Black power, Black arts, Black pride.
Is that like magic? Black arts?
Black pride. I don't know what that is.
Black pride.
And the birth of Black studies, the Black feminist movement, womanism, and intersectionality.
Yeah.
Now,
but apparently there's also queer theory.
Black pride.
Somewhere in there. That's probably that.
That's right where it is.
You know, is that what the black pride is?
Okay.
Not just proud that I'm black.
I'm black and I'm proud.
No, that's
I'm black and I'm proud. Not that one.
No.
That's a different,
like rainbow.
Which is really interesting to me. We forget that black culture is very, very, used to be anyway, very, very socially conservative.
Yeah.
Like they were not the ones that the homosexual stuff, they're not going to tolerate that. It's not accepted. They've been shamed into embracing homosexuality for the goal of getting more authority and power inside the civil magistrate. And that's one of the saddest things that I've seen happen to the black culture is like we used to be very high moral value on the marriage and all of those things were huge for us. And we've just, in order to get civil power, we've partnered with people and let their movement infiltrate ours and take. So now, if there was I looked at the book list for this. Some of the books on here, I will say 80% of the books on here were actually really good books to read. Yeah. Really good books to read. But then they came in and injected it with the homosexual movement. Right. And now you've poisoned the whole water.
Right.
You know, and so, you have to reject this. Right. But one of the things that's really clear, you go through and we read the bill, we read the, we did the homework on HB 1557, which is an amendment to the bill. They absolutely require teaching Black history. Yeah. They are, and even DeSantis says he's even considered it American history. Like it's not, unlike Keith. But so it's a part of it. But the way that they're getting leverage is because they can't get what they want, then they have to say, oh, he's racist. Right. That's not what's going on. Right. I have another problem with Ron DeSantis is that he needs to abolish the school system.
Right. Well, the whole thing here, I mean, he is, his whole what was his line? We if it's indoctrination, we reject it. If it's education, we do it. But here's the thing. I think I know what he's kind of trying to say.
I know what he means.
But education is discipleship. It's just and there's no neutrality. Mm-hmm. There's no neutrality. What do you want to bet that these children are taught Darwinism? Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the Florida schools. That's indoctrination. Right? Don't tell me you don't teach indoctrination. You teach indoctrination. You teach Darwinism. You can't help.
It's inescapable to teach
you are teaching values. Yeah. You're talking about, does this world belong to Christ or not? And so it's he's kind of pretending that you can kind of be neutral on this. And again, evidenced by the fact that he lists along with queer theory, which of course is an abomination, but also abolishing prisons, which I think, but our prison system is an abomination.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So by what standard? Yeah. We've got to have a standard, and the ultimate standard begins by saying, whose responsibility is it to run schools? It is not Ron DeSantis' job. It is not the civil government's job. Well, they need to abolish the schools.
Absolutely. And I want to ask the question a little differently. Who owns the family? Because at the end of the day, who owns the family? God owns the family. And so the rules that apply to the family, that's where the education comes from. Right. All the treasure, wisdoms, and knowledge are found in Christ. Right. Knowledge itself comes from knowing the fear of the Lord. Yeah. That's where you get knowledge from the Holy One. And so if you don't start with the fear of God in education, then you're not bringing your kid into the real knowledge of the Lord. And guess what? A Christian kid needs that kind of education.
Everything the government touches gets worse. Mm-hmm. Except
for the things they're supposed to touch.
Yeah, the one thing that they're supposed to do is justice, punishing criminals, and because of how bloated everything is and how mad everything's become, they're even getting worse and worse at that. But education, you turn that over to the government. That is just educational welfare. Yeah, and conservatives has historically said we're not for a welfare state, except for teaching our kids.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed is probably about the 90s when they're a little bit before they were declaring war on poverty. But I've noticed over my lifetime, every time they've declared war on something, we've gotten more of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? War on poverty, more poverty. War on terrorism, more terror. War on drugs, more drugs. So if they declare war, just get ready for more of whatever it is.
Not only is it content-wise completely, it's a mess.
Yep, absolutely.
But it's completely inefficient.
Yeah, it's not practical.
The cost. You pulled up some numbers here for us, Knox, where you said that I don't know which number. There's one number that says 13,000 per pupil. Another one says 15,000.
Yeah, somewhere between 9 and 15,000 per pupil in America. That's what it costs to send a child to government school.
Cost annual.
Yeah, annual. Particularly in Florida, I believe it's like $9,000 to $11,000.
So remember this: government schools are not free.
Right. You pay for them.
You're paying for them. Public schools are not free. They cost between $9,000 and $15,000 a year.
Yep.
Now,
at least.
Yeah. And as it happens, what's happening is that most of that, the lion's share of that's coming out of property taxes.
That's right.
Which either if you're a homeowner, property owner, you're paying directly through your property taxes, or you say, I don't own property. Well, guess what? You're paying it through your rent.
Right.
Because your landlord is making
property.
sure you're paying for it because he's not paying for it.
That's right.
So your rent is so high because tuition is so high for public schools. And of course, we pay for these public schools, whether we use them or not.
Well, and during COVID, some things happened. How much was it, Haley? Was like $600 million or something like that went to Florida? $770 million went to Florida over the next 4 years, not to exceed 4 years, for whatever COVID regulations that they need to do to keep the classrooms clean and maintain the COVID standards.
Right.
So that's more money on top of whatever it is that you already pay for the next 4 years.
We did a little bit of hunting around, and just a few that we're aware of. Logos Online School tuition. So that's an online school. Is their tuition, annual tuition is $2,500.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
$2,500. I mean, compare that to $9,000 to $15,000.
Yeah.
Classical Conversations is between $600 and $1,600.
They're sponsors of ours, just so you know.
Yeah, Classical Conversations.
Classical
Good deal
Conversations.
there.
Yeah, check them out. Kepler is some other friends of ours.
Yeah. They've been at our conferences.
Video curriculum for schools. Theirs is $3,000.
Yeah.
I mean, still like crazy discounted.
Yep. Massive.
Yeah, and it's amazing because the operating assumption is, private education is just so astronomically expensive.
Logos School is a K through 12 all day school, classical Christian school in our town, and is like it's the nice
right. Just the upgrade for what you know.
Yeah, it's like the high end version of it in our community, and their tuition is only $5,600.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean that is a lot, but on the other hand, we're paying $9,000 to $15,000,
right.
you and your neighbors, for a government program that grooms your kids to hate God and be completely
immoral.
Sexually confused,
yeah.
and become Marxist and Democrats.
And
It's
we
nuts.
can put homeschooling directly in there. homeschooling, what are you, $500 to what? $1,600 a whole year?
Logos Online, Classical Conversations, and Kepler are kind of all assistants to homeschooling. But if you wanted to do it completely on your own,
piece it together,
probably $1,000 or less.
Exactly.
One of the other things that I love about Logos School here in Moscow,
especially if you want to check the books out of the library, it's really cheap at that point. That's all you got to do.
One of the things I love about Logos School is that they were started in 1981, and since 1981. The Logos School has never turned away a single family who was unable to afford the entire tuition. Not once. Any family that wants their students at Logos School, they print the price. This is what we think it costs to send your kids here. They want to work with families that desire to have their kids there, even if they can't afford the tuition, because it's a mission. Because we're in a war.
I have to say this because I've been on Twitter fighting with folks about this.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, my mom was a single mom.
Yeah.
She did it.
Yeah.
She did it. And there were struggles and it was hard.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, single moms can't afford this. They can't afford to do this. Private school, we can't afford that. Listen, when we're talking about education, we're actually talking about the souls of your children.
Right.
We're talking about the God that they're going to serve. When you choose education, when you're educating, you're talking about the God they're going to serve.
You can't afford not to.
That's right.
You can't afford not to.
And there are a lot of Christians out there, when we start taking the authority and power away from the government that we've given, from relinquishing our responsibility to them, and start changing that system, all of a sudden things flow in a different way. And there's a lot of Christians out here who really care about this, that have made curriculum free online for people to do this.
What's that children's show you were telling us about the other day?
Bluey?
Bluey.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the deal. You could bring your kids home and watch Bluey with them.
Come on now.
All day long for 12 years. And I guarantee you, they will be in better shape than if you'd send them to the government schools. Now, is that ideal? No. But I'm telling you, it's better. And you can do better than Bluey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't even know what Bluey is, but I'm just using that as an example. I'm serious, though.
That's true.
Get them. I mean,
that is true.
Like you could, it's like you're sending them where they're eating poison all day long, or bring them home and you say, but all I have is mac and cheese. Well, feed them mac and cheese for 12 years, and they'll turn out better than going to a government school where they're getting poisoned all day long.
Yeah, you know, obedience to God, though, brings blessing.
And that's the thing is, you bring them home, I'm betting you in a couple of weeks you got some sausage and hot dogs in that mac and cheese.
That's what I'm about to say.
Especially if you're intentionally raising your children. Like the average person who's going to get involved and do these things, you're engaged with your child, and you're going to figure out, okay, maybe I stink right now, but a year from now we're going to be better.
Then you're in a church, right? Right?
Yeah, right.
You're a member of a Christian church, right? Because you love Jesus and you love his people.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And now you together love Jesus and you love your kids together, right? And so you're going to work together to do that. Either you're going to, hey, you're good at math. You can teach our kids math, and you're good at science. How about you do the science classes? You know a lot about history. How about you do it once a week? History, and you band together. And, I'll watch the kids on Tuesday because I know you got a part-time job, so you got to go to that job, and I'll watch the kids on Tuesday. And that's called bearing one another's burdens. Yeah. And some of you in that church are better off than others, and you might be able to give additional funds to a deacon's fund or an education fund. And as we have done in our community, where we have a fund set aside, designated to help families that can't afford it. And we help families do it because we believe that it's worth it. You can't afford not to. Because raising our children in the fear and admonition of the Lord is our job.
That's right.
That's what they're doing there. And you wouldn't send your kid to a Muslim school. You wouldn't send your kid to a Hindu school. You wouldn't send your kid to Mormon school. You wouldn't send your kid. But why would you send them to secular, atheist, materialistic religious school?
Yeah, because we've accepted the idea that it's neutral. There's just this realm out there that is just numbers, and we can learn that from the
education is indoctrination.
We don't have time. And
so much to say on this. So much to say on this.
And be careful with the whole school choice thing. That's a shiny lure with a bunch of hooks on it. We need to just simply get the right to keep our money and spend it to take care of our kids. That's got to be the goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
The education savings accounts and vouchers and all this kind of stuff. Y'all need to get your hardcore hackles up and knives out, because they're coming for your kids.
That's
just
right.
a different direction. Not so long ago, the American dream was alive and well. Employees who worked hard were rewarded, and employers looked for people who could do the job, not for people who have the right political views. Redballoon.work is a job site designed to get us back to what made American businesses successful: free speech, hard work, and having fun. If you're a free speech employer who wants to hire employees who focus on their work and not identity politics, then post a job on redballoon.work. If you're an employee who is being censored at work or is being forced to comply with the current zeitgeist, post your resume on redballoon.work and look for a new job. Redballoon.work, the job site where free speech is still alive. Redballoon.work. Oh, man.
Yeah, you know what time it is.
You ready? Is
there my theme music?
This is your theme music?
Is there going to be a drop?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Last Friday, I actually decided for these weekly wrap-ups.
I need to go back to freestyle.
No,
you're like, last Friday. I was like, oh, here we go. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, I've been here for one of these before. I realized for these weekly wrap-ups, I need to actually go back to Friday because I never wrap up Friday.
Oh, that's true.
So I'm going to start doing that now. So last Friday, Pastor Jacob Rayom joined us all the way from Canada. He snuck across the lines in the Underground Railroad to talk about how God has used the COVID tyranny of blackface Trudeau and other tyrants to make the gospel explode and the churches in Canada grow. As I recall, maybe you can check me on this, Knox, but I'm pretty sure Pastor Rayom said after the show that he agreed that pedobaptism is the most biblical stance.
He actually baptized a baby right in the hallway on his way out.
So he's going home to explain it to his congregation. So let us know how that goes, Jacob. On Monday, we had the one and only legendary Darren Doan, punk rock as ever, and he came in with a list of things he wanted to get off his chest. And I think we really helped. I think he complained about James Jordan, Gary DeMar, Kinnists, Christian nationalism, Jason Farley's infamous quip about Baptists. Did I miss anything? Is that everything?
Eschatology?
Eschatology.
Yeah.
He seemed a lot calmer and more relaxed, I think, by the end of the show. Don't you think?
Nope.
Not good.
I'm just glad we got to minister to him like that. On Tuesday, campus preacher Keith Darrell joined us in the studio with Gabe on the road, and we had a great discussion about fatherhood and the glory of women and mothers, with Kamala Harris crowing in the background. Nevermore, nevermore. Something like that. On Wednesday, we watched a poor, unloved girl explaining how she was brainwashing little kids in her preschool or kindergarten class to say non-binary. And we talked about how the pagans believe more in discipleship than Christians do. Christians wonder what we can do to stop the madness. Well, stop sending your kids to children's church. Stop sending them to government school. Stop ignoring them. Spend some time with them. Read them the Bible. Take them to church with you and teach them. I know, it's radical.
Yeah, I know.
But it actually works. If you train up a child in the way he should go, guess what? When he's old, he will not depart. Yesterday, Keith joined us again, and we talked to Gabe and Marcus Pittman via Zoom down in Oklahoma at a Christian businessmen's conference. I think that might have been the first cross-politics show ever with speaking in tongues. Is that true?
No.
No? You've been speaking in tongues?
Surely I have.
Not like that. I mean, that was like...
I translated. That might be the first time I translated.
We're definitely cessationists on here, but sometimes the spirit just breaks through, don't you know?
Glory.
Strange things happen.
But don't worry, Chocolate Knox interpreted them for us, so it was all good. But when I tried to interpret, Knox told me to stop, which kind of hurt my Presbyterian feelings.
More practice.
I had one friend reach out after our Wednesday show asking what the biblical basis might be for honoring women so highly. It's actually an interesting question. Like, where are you getting that? Now, it's certainly true. There are different kinds of honor, and different people are due different kinds of honor.
I was thinking that. I'm so glad you're hitting this.
But honor, to be true honor, sees the unique glory in others that outshines others. So when we're talking about honoring a woman, we're talking about honoring a woman particularly for her unique glory. And in those respects, she definitely outshines men. A woman can make a human being inside of her. A woman is made by God to display his glory in her physical beauty, her feminine wisdom, her motherhood, her hospitality, and so on. But a man's glory is his physical strength, his concentration on particular tasks and missions, and his willingness to use his strength to protect and provide for his people. That glory should be highly honored by his wife and his children. And in those respects, a man outshines a woman. Now, I'm not sure if I understood exactly where the question was coming from, but one thing that occurred to me also is that if we understand the Trinity and the gospel rightly, when we honor others more than ourselves in those ways that God has truly made them more glorious than us, it actually rebounds. When the Father honors the Son, he's honoring him as his son. This is my son in whom I'm well pleased. And he isn't worried. God's not worried about honoring his son too much. And this is in part because the honor that the Father bestows on his son actually rebounds and reflects back to the Father. I mean, everything the Son does is what? To glorify the Father.
Right.
And when the Son honors his Father as his Father, he isn't worried that he might honor his Father too much, is he? Likewise, when a husband honors his wife highly, she makes him shine. A wise woman is a crown to her husband. And the same thing goes with children and parents. When parents honor their sons and their daughters as daughters, it's a glory to the whole family, and they shine under the blessing of God, and they light up the whole family. And likewise, when children honor their father as their father and their mother as their mother, it's a great glory to the whole family. And this is how grace works.
Yeah.
So we live in a land in which in so many respects, the glory has departed. It's Ichabod. But this is fundamentally because we have simply rejected the glory of God. That glory is all around us still. It's still here. It's the glory of being made male and female in the image of God, being made new creations through the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ as his sons and his daughters, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, grandfathers and grandmothers, elders, deacons, bosses, magistrates, judges, and so on. This whole hierarchy restored in Jesus Christ, according to his word, teaches us to honor one another highly, speaking highly of one another, confessing our sins to one another, forgiving one another, bowing and curtsying until the glory of the Lord covers the earth as the waters cover the sea.
Man, I'm so happy you hit that. I was going to talk about that because that is so good. Even egalitarian has gotten into our glory.
Yeah,
it's gotten into our glory.
Yeah.
You know,
not too much glory over there.
Right,
not too much glory.
Right.
Let's all have the same glory.
When David talks about women being the pillars of our society, right? Like, it's like, I know, right? All of a sudden you're just like, wait a second, you know, there's a certain type of glory that has in that type of pillar and what they are.
When we understand grace and we understand the infinite glory of God, is like, there's no shortage, but there really, there is glory for there to be difference.
Right.
And different kinds of glories.
And it is really hard to grab. I was studying Acts the other night, and I can't remember they wanted to go Asia Minor or something, and the Lord prevented them. Then he went to Macedonia. I can't remember where they wanted to go. It was like the Lord stopped them, and the Lord's like, nope, the gospel's going to Macedonia instead.
They're getting the glory.
Yeah, and even like that sort of thing is just like, that's not the way we think. We're like, oh no, God needs to, and outside even just the Calvinist doctrine, you're just like, God's so free and so glorious, he can do with his creation whatever he wants. And it is, and even Jesus given us 5, 10, 20, different gifts. You're just like, that's what God does. Like, it's amazing to grasp that.
And that's what makes the world so glorious. It makes and it brings glory to Him when we get on board and we say this is the best. And He's given so freely, it makes us want to give freely. And then we say this is glorious.
Yeah, we should see that kind of. Man should see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven, right? So if you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, be like Jacob Rayom is going to be. Go baptize them.
Sorry, Jacob. Sorry.
Until Monday, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
Home. It's where you build your legacy, where traditions are started, seeds are planted, meals are shared, and stories are told. We are Chris and Natalie Carpenter, owners of Story Real Estate, and our team of top agents helps people find homes in Moscow, Idaho, and around the country.
Have you thought about a move? Contact us to get connected with a top agent who shares your values and puts your family first. Or reach out to us about our Moscow relocation guide.
Wherever you're looking to go, we can help you find home. Call us at Story Real Estate or visit us at storyrealestate.com and start building your legacy.
Hi, I'm Robert Borton, CEO of Classical Conversations, the world's largest classical Christian homeschooling community. I'm launching a new podcast, Refining Rhetoric. If you like cross politics or just listen to hear what crazy stuff they're saying today, you will enjoy Refining Rhetoric. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform. I practice the 15 tools of learning by interviewing great guests, looking at current events, and talking about cryptocurrency.